Ladies and gentlemen, you have something special. You have greatness in you. Hi, my name is Les Brown. One of the things that we know, that all of us have undeveloped potential in us. I'm excited to be able to speak in behalf of the Igniters. It's a group of individuals who are messengers of hope. Individuals who've gone through some stuff, but realize it's not what you go through, it's what comes out of you that develops your character, that helps you to begin to create a different kind of life for yourself and others and make a greater impact. You got something special. You got greatness in you. It is difficult to bring it out. You can't read the label when you're locked in the box, and that's where the igniters come from. Because when they speak, they will ignite something in you. When they speak, they will interrupt the loop in your mind that says you can't do it. When they speak, and as you watch them and listen to them, what you take in will determine your outlook on life. And the igniters, they help you to realize that when you are pursuing your greatness, being ignited by an unstoppable goal and dream of living the greatest expression of yourself, the world will never be the same again. You got something in you. And if you're ready for an explosive life, a life, as Helen Keller would say, make your life a daring adventure. The Igniters, that's what they do. They ain't playing with you. They're coming for you. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
I want to ask you something. Are you an inmate or an occupant in this body? Put it in the chat. You know, for many years, I thought I was an occupant. I thought I was running the show. But I realized that I wasn't really running the show. It was the programming going on in the back of my mind, which had been there from the time I was a child. And I've brought those old thoughts and superstitions into my day-to-day living. Whereas if my mind dictated an action, I responded to that voice in my head. And all the time, the voice in your head, it may not be giving you good advice, because that alter ego, that thing inside of us, wants to be in charge all of the time. And most times, unless we check in with ourselves, it is. So to my dismay, I realized I had spent so much time being outside of myself, I didn't really know who I was. I had to come back into myself to realize what I was truly missing in life. I missed most of my parenting years because I would be considered a good mother. But if you're not at home in the body, you don't know if you're good at what you do or not, especially if you're telling the children and you're not teaching them how to do and how to be what it is you're expecting from them as they grow. I spent a lot of time not teaching, but I spent most of my time telling. And I realized something. Nothing was getting done. I was feeling frustrated. I was feeling angry. I was feeling let down, you know, and I was blaming them for what it was they weren't giving me, when it wasn't their issue, it was mine, because I didn't know how to navigate this shit. And what I find is if you don't know how to navigate your ship, life serves you whatever way the wind blows because you're not in control. You're not making decisions. You're being led by a conversation in the back of your head that's not even making sense to you, but you follow through because that little guy in there wants to be in charge and he wants to prove a point, or he wants to have a voice that's louder than everybody else's voice in the crowd, whether it made sense or not. It wanted to be seen. But being seen and not making sense is not very useful when it comes to how you use your energy and when it comes to how you serve yourself. Because everything you think, everything you feel, everything you say, it enters into you first. So if you're having negative conversations with yourself, it enters into you first. It enters into you on a cellular level. You know, the things we say have the potential to make us sick or to heal us. How we're feeling is the vocabulary that we actually dance with our body's energy with. You know, if our feeling is not in alignment with what is good, you feel drained. I know I do. Put it in the chat. Does it drain you when you're opposite from what's natural to you or what's normal for you or what feels outside of the box for you? I had to come back to myself and I started realizing something. You know, a lot has gone on in our lives. And what was major that went on in our lives, it happened millenniums before this time, but its energy was so powerful, it's here and now. And what that energy is, it started back in the Garden of Eden when the Father said, look, stay away from the tree of knowledge. But of course, children don't like listening to their loved ones. They want to do it their way. So of course, they went and they ate from the tree of knowledge, which brings us to this point. Because as long as they were in the garden, they didn't even know they were naked. They weren't even concerned about the animals that were there. They weren't concerned about anything. They didn't know fear. They didn't know anger. They didn't know frustration. They didn't know confusion. They didn't know any of those things that take us away from our center. But once they ate the fruit, all of that came into play. And it's still into play today. We are always mesmerized by the latest thing in the news, by this or by that. And it's like we have given our power away. We have forgotten that there is only one power. We have separated ourselves from the omnipotent presence, that one power, that oneness, that goodness. And we've made all these false gods by way of the circumstances that are going on around us. But it was said, grow beyond appearance. You know, and growing beyond appearance means come back home to the oneness. Get out of the duality of thinking. Think of how powerful God is. Think of how powerful the things in our life are that we can't see. We can't see our heartbeat. We can't see our blood flow. We can't see any of these things, but these magnificent things are what create us and keep us breathing and living. Are we breathing life in our life? Or are we captured by the images or the illusions of what we see? Do we believe that they're more powerful than the presence of God? Why are we so fearful? Why are we taken away from our purpose by things that actually mean nothing because they are created? It's a part of the program. The ego brings these things up to keep it in high mark in our life. But is that a true place to be? Is that where you want to thrive with a mistaken identity? You know, we are royalty. We are goodness. We are well-being. We are prosperity. We are moving forward. But you have to be passionate about the moving forward. We have to be willing to stand outside of ourselves. And what I mean by that is this: the old self that you've been carrying with you throughout this lifetime, is it of value, or is it just a place where you roost because you're comfortable? Are you creating a pathway of light for yourself? Are you willing to become uncomfortable to create a new being in you? Because we came through our parents, but we came from a divine place. So this outer shell, as we look in the mirror, ask yourself, mirror, mirror on the wall, what's the most important thing of all? And my most important thing is the sanctity of my mind, because that's my sacred space. And in that space, I live and I grow and I dwell, because energy, and we all are energy. We move through life before we even walk into the door. What are we carrying in our sacred space, in conversation about the people we are about to meet or greet, or with the people that we're in contact with where we're not feeling so whole? But it's not their job, it's our job. Our wholeness is all of us. What it means to us, what it means to others, it's none of our business. We are divine beings. We must stand up. We must speak life. We must pull each other back into the safety of oneness and unify, because that's how the world will be transformed. It's transformed by love. It's transformed by raising our energy. Each one teach one. Stay positive, move forward, and have love in your heart.